Hello and welcome to Under the Heat Lamp podcast. I'm Calum, and this week we're going to be talking about food for fuel. We'll explain a bit more what that means shortly. With me today are my esteemed colleagues, Don.
Hello there.
George.
Hello.
And David.
You remembered to say your name for the first time, I think.
I was walking down the street the other day and I was like, I introduce everyone, but I never say my name.
Just say hello and welcome to the podcast.
I just say hello and welcome, so nobody knows who I am. I'm obviously the most important member of the podcast.
Of course.
You are the host, yeah.
I'm the host. I'm the host.
And we're your guests.
We're merely guests that return every single week.
Yeah, you're merely my guests.
Yeah.
Well, that's how I see everyone in my life, really. I'm the main character, and everyone else is sort of like a side character who just adds something to my narrative. So, anyway, so what are we talking about this week, guys?
Well, as you said, we're talking about food for fuel, which,
Food for fuel.
to go into more depth, is like the idea of eating food for the sole purpose of the health benefits and the fact that, you need to eat to survive. So, these people don't care much about cooking or the taste of the food. We'll be talking about meal replacement stuff like Soylent and like milkshakes that you would just eat instead of food. And yeah.
I think you like, when you say health benefits, that's always something I find really interesting when it comes to this sort of thing, because a lot of the time it is like portrayed or marketed as a improvement to your health to eat one of these like alternatives, or to make the perfectly balanced meal. So like, I guess maybe we could start there, if that's all right with everyone.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about it? Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I mean, in terms of the health benefits, so like one big one that we all know about is Huel. And Huel is, I think it's a pretty big one here in the UK.
Yeah.
It does seem pretty healthy. It's got all your health bits like ground up together.
Yeah.
And I think compared to a lot of people's diets, it probably wouldn't be the end of the world if they started eating just Huel in terms of health. Like, there's periods of my life where I'm definitely not getting all the nutrition I need.
You should explain what Huel is for the listener.
So Huel it's basically like a full meal replacement thing. Some people replace 2 meals a day, like breakfast and lunch. Some people are on a 100% Huel diets. They're fueled by
Fueled.
Huel. And like, it's...
The Hueligans, as I found on Facebook page.
Oh, dude, I was about to fucking say that.
Sorry.
You stole my joke out of my brain. And so basically, like, Huel is, it's all your nuts, all your peas, all your bullshit things that the human body needs, ground up into a powder, which you add water to, stir it up, and drink it. And it's, if you're someone who eats, like, Rustler's burgers and shit every day, you're probably actually improving your health by eating it.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I was to eat 3 Huels a day, my diet would probably be better. I was just eating some teriyaki Pringles.
And the brie. Don't forget the brie.
And brie Pringles and biscuits and a cup of tea and a different type of crisps. And yeah, so it was just because I was quite hungry, but
I guess like you're like you're a resident Huel expert, because out of the 4 of us, you've actually toyed with the idea of having Huel. Are you still thinking about it?
Well,
because like for me, I'm like, I want to get my like fucking cards on the chest straight away. I hate like the idea of like Huel or like Soylent or like Manna. Was it the other one, Don?
Yeah, Manna. Yeah.
Like any of these like meal replacements, I just think strip the joy out of food. But yeah, like what would like make you? What was the appeal of Huel?
Okay,
the health benefits.
Yeah, to go back to Huel specifically, I read a lot on the discussion forums on the Huel website yesterday. I guess we'll come back to it because it is like a community. But the thing about Huel is that effectively, if you have a pretty nice diet going on and you're getting everything that you need, if you were to switch to Huel, you're not actually really gonna gain too much. It's not exactly something which is like broadcasted as like better than like just eating properly. So effectively, the only reason I personally would see as like the reason to try Huel is if you have no time at all to prepare good meals, right?
Well, not necessarily no time, but you just prefer to spend that time doing something else. Like, a lot of these people, I imagine, that want to get into meal replacement stuff aren't enjoying cooking and they're not enjoying the food that they make or eat. So they think, why not? Why not just, get an
Have it
extra
all in
hour
a
to
thing.
play games or something?
I guess as well, it's I remember you mentioning that it was quite cheap, Galen, like as well.
It's like £1 if you do like a subscription. It can be like £1.50 a meal.
Yeah, it's not too expensive.
It's too cheap either though.
Do you think it fills you
I mean,
up, really? Like, do you think one of those is about the same as the
I
amount
think
of food
your body
that you
gets
get?
used to it.
Yeah, I think
Um,
it's almost like any diet where you kind of learn to eat less, where you just get used to eating that much eventually.
Yeah, and we do have to say that a lot of these companies and a lot of the people who are in these communities, they don't 100% replace all their meals with, the sludge.
But in the case
Yeah,
of Mana in particular, just from what I saw, it seems to lean a bit more towards actually being a full blown meal replacement. But Huel
And those-
kind of steps around that vocabulary a little bit.
I know Soylent as well was very much marketed as the same sort of thing of just you replace your entire like solid intake with the Soylent. And I know like old Weight Watchers, like milkshakes were very similar. You'd have them as a meal replacement, but obviously the idea was to lose weight.
I didn't
And I
know
guess
they did those.
they always like exist in these strange spaces, don't they? Like these sort of drinks as a meal sort of thing.
Hmm. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
guess
don't-
there's protein shakes which you would use at the gym or something, but I think that's just seen as like an extra. But it's by no means meant to be like a food supplement. At least I don't believe so, right? Would you say a protein shake is
No,
No,
I
of
mean some
course
people
not.
do
No,
replace
no.
a meal, but it doesn't have any of the nutrition.
no?
And I think like we can look at Huel and you might get confused thinking that it is a protein supplement, but it doesn't necessarily have that much protein in either. It's more about like just getting your nutrition in.
Hmm.
And your point you made about the people being too busy to cook kind of thing, and that being the thing about Huel, like, that's for me like probably the most miserable part of it.
Yeah.
Is it feels like a real product of capitalism and people just like having to work a shit ton, and you basically want to shrink every part of your life that's not work. And that's why these days people are like booking in a brunch like 3 weeks before they do it because nobody's got any time, and it's so hard to fit in like socializing and cooking and blah blah blah, and everyone's just like completely overwhelmed with life.
Yeah.
That's
it
exactly
just
what
feels
is the
like-
fucking depressing thing about that shit is that it's like the idea of like having a drink or something to replace your meal in terms of nutrition is like in theory totally fine, but imagine fucking like just instead of having a meal with someone, instead of like sitting down and having like dinner or lunch with a friend or like a fucking like partner, you just gulp down some Huel as you fucking sit at your desk like
Yeah.
working on the next fucking like project.
Someone's
for
got
your
the
fucking,
bisque,
like
and you've got
Yeah.
the Huel.
Yeah.
you're in your fucking like
Yeah.
shared workspace, like LinkedIn tab
Oh,
open, you're fucking
shoot
knocking
me.
down the Huel.
You throw the
Please.
bottle into the pile of 500
Yeah.
Yeah.
the month.
Working on your new fucking like startup that's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, or you're on your fake job as like corporate development manager for like a fucking Spotify or something, where like anyway.
I think that's the interesting thing about Huel to like specifically, because I guess we're on the Huel train now rather than the like other sort of side of the food for fuel stuff. But
Mhm.
like Huel definitely markets itself as that kind of thing. It's for like up and coming, like go get 'em 20 something professionals who just fucking want to get ahead. And the way to do it is to drink Huel. Like it's really like cynically marketed at that kind of person.
Yeah.
Like Huel is always like advertised on like podcasts like this or fucking like very like internet centric people. It's like it's got its target for sure.
And
Yep.
and Soylent sponsor Twitch streamers as well. There's
Yeah,
many
yeah.
Twitch streamers that I've seen that would get a sponsorship by Soylent and then would proceed to stream for like 12 13 hours a day, not leaving for lunch or dinner, just drinking the Soylent. It's part of that.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's like the exact same thing as you
Jesus
said,
Christ.
just like making sure that all of your time is spent like doing the work or
Productivity.
Maximum efficiency.
What a painful existence.
Fucking depressive, man.
The thing is, it's I guess when George came in at the beginning, was saying that a lot of people would prefer to not spend that time cooking and just have this thing there ready for them. Like I understand that, but I think to kind of be in a spot where like I don't know, you don't want to necessarily cook or whatever. I think it's like you have to have like some pretty big things going on to not have time at all to like not cook meals, right? In like some respects.
It's not just about time. Like you might have enough like physical hours in the day, but sometimes you just have no energy because you've worked like 12 hours or whatever, and like the idea of coming home and like making a nice wholesome meal is just not on the cards.
And doing
get
the washing
that,
up
yeah.
afterwards, and cleaning the work surfaces and stuff.
But say if it's
Yeah.
like your 350th day into drinking fucking Huel, like
You're just fucking
I mean,
shitting it out. As
yeah,
quick
like
as it
your
comes in.
stomach's fucking dying because all you had is like this powder for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. Like, surely, even in like a mental sense, you're just gonna feel like shit, right?
You're slurring all your
Yeah.
words because you haven't worked your jaw muscle in like
Yeah.
2 years.
You haven't had to chew for almost a year now.
Can you imagine the shits? Oh
Yeah,
my
like-
god.
I wanted to talk about that idea of like why, because George mentioned it at the beginning. Like a lot of people have this idea of these things are a health benefit or like for your health, and it's like completely disregarding like the mental like health side of it. Like the fucking idea of not having like a designated meal where you can sit and enjoy it and have a little bit of space and time to think, or maybe like just fucking watch some TV or listen to like some music. It's like, nope, you've got to fucking slam down this like fucking drink powder. Like,
Well, I
it's
mean,
gonna-
like, yeah.
so like ridiculous that to replace like a meal, like the idea. I guess it's the heart of the food for fuel thing. It's like I've talked to you guys before, but food is not just fuel. Like food has so many like cultural and like social ramifications, and like it's such a weird thing for me to try and divorce like the
So
fucking
true.
nutritional value of food from the
Yeah.
idea of having a meal with your like family or friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like as people from the UK, we probably have less of a strong cultural connection to food than some countries.
Because it's all
Um,
shit.
It's shit. It's not like we have like we'll have a cheeky roast or something, but there's not. I don't know. For me at least, there wasn't that many occasions of like sitting down with the whole family and having like a special meal or that being like a bonding thing.
Mm.
Whereas I think in a lot of other cultures, you'll have dinner together every day. But trust us and like as in like the West to come up with an idea of just removing this like fundamental pleasure in life just so we can do more
Yeah, man,
work.
wasted time.
Yeah.
Fucking, that web page is not going to code itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, we've kind of tricked ourselves into thinking like productivity equals happiness, and just like the more you do and the more your time is spent just like creating stuff, whether that's useful or not, like the happier that should translate into you being. But it's not fucking true.
Well, to kind of bring the discussion like to something that's a bit broader than say just fuel or like meal replacement stuff, the whole idea of food for fuel is basically looking at food and what you intake purely as like a form of sustenance, and there's no indulging, there's not necessarily even any enjoyment. It's just, here's what you need for the day, eat
This
this
is the thing,
and stop
it's not
whining.
even like a complete lack of enjoyment. It's like some of the stuff is disgusting. Like we've seen pictures like in preparation for this pod that were like had like a fucking hard boiled egg floating in some fucking like bran flakes with some milk.
Yeah.
Or like this fucking like fish and banana smoothie thing where it's just like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like how can you like consume that? How can you physically consume those things together?
Because you've
They,
read
like, must be
one of
horrible.
many different science reports saying that that's the best way to go about getting your energy.
Yeah, that's the thing. There'll always be like one study that shows this thing, so everyone just jumps on that, and then the next thing and the next thing. When probably it's just like eating a healthy, balanced diet is the healthiest way, and not eating some weird shit.
Exactly. And surely through that, there is a means that you can like spice things up a bit and maybe like actually enjoy it, as opposed to just like, I swear, like people, when they hear diet or whatever, they just imagine like salad and nothing else. Like still to this day, it's just like you eat a fucking like piece of lettuce and some tomatoes and that's it. But like you can do so much more with it, to the point where like it is enjoyable. And I mean, I'm not a nutritionist, like don't get me wrong or whatever, but like
You are.
not really.
Let's say so short.
Yeah, but like you can have fun with it, and it can be good. It doesn't just have to be like the food equivalent of fucking grey goop that you have to indulge in every day just to lose a few pounds or to
Yeah.
get your life on track or
I
whatever.
mean, they used to make sci-fi. There was like that movie, Soylent, where Soylent. I can't remember what movie it was.
Soylent
but-
Green, man.
Soylent Green, yeah. Like this is something like sci-fi writers used to think it would be like our dystopian future. Now we're like voluntarily fucking doing it. Like
That was people, man.
George, what were you saying?
Yeah, I
What
think
were you gonna say?
going back to it, even talking about all of these reasons why people would move into this mindset, there's so many like mediary steps that you could take that can decrease the amount of time that you spend cooking, can make your meals a lot simpler. Like thinking about making like a pasta sauce, the amount of effort it requires to make one portion of pasta sauce is round about the same as the effort of making like 4 portions. So there's so many different things that you can do that would make the time that you spend like way more efficient, or like just the idea of like cooking, maybe like cook once, eat twice is like a thing going around where, people would just make slightly more like bigger portions and then eat it like multiple times like throughout the week.
Even like with pasta, like, right, you don't even have to make your own pasta sauce. Like a fucking jar of pasta sauce is like what, like £1, like £2 tops, and like dried pasta is fucking nothing. Like it's not that much more expensive than Huel, and you can actually sit and enjoy a meal for 2 people.
Like a Huel is probably better for you than that, because that's like
no way, man.
Some tomatoes and
but
oil.
Even then,
no way.
Even then, if you want to almost make your own Huel, you can buy like powdered supplements and vitamins and just add in exactly what you need, and people
just
do
have
that.
a supplement afterwards.
Yeah,
that's the thing. You say like the words you use, Caden, is really interesting, because you say like, oh, it's better for you, but it's not. Like it may have like more nutritional value, but it's not better for you. Like, I don't think it's like the idea of fucking drinking a Huel and maybe getting, the fucking grains that you wouldn't get from a pasta sauce does not fucking outweigh the benefits of being able to sit down eating a fucking delicious pasta dinner with maybe a friend or like something.
Nutritionally, I completely agree.
But that's what I mean. That's the thing. But people say like, "Oh, it's better for you. It's good for your health," and it's just like, it's just not true. Like, it may have more nutritional value. Like,
I saw a post on the Soylent. So there's a Soylent subreddit, and it basically encompasses all sorts of meal replacement, like drink, smoothie things, what have you. And somebody was saying that they were like getting dry mouth, like eating the Huel, and they were wondering like what the problem was. And it turns out that they were only eating, like drinking, I guess, Huel, not drinking any water, and have been doing so for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then when people in the comments were like, "Hey, you should drink water. Like, how much water have you been drinking with it?" The person said like, "Well, I have to put water in the fuel. I just thought that this would replace everything. I wouldn't need to do anything else. Just drink the Huel, and then that's it. Job done."
Yeah. The thing is, like, with us saying things like, a pasta sauce doesn't take long to make or whatever, like, to some people that may seem like a kind of like, I guess coming from like a privileged, quote unquote, sort of like backdrop. But the thing that comes with that is like the kind of people who that Huel and Manna and all this shit is like aimed at, it's clean looking and it's slick, and it's pointed towards the people like Kaelan said earlier, the fucking website designers and people like that, right? So they have time to do meal prep and things like that. Like, this isn't aimed at doctors and nurses who are working like 18 hours a day or whatever. It's aimed
is it like the working class family who are like, have to
it's aimed
eat
at
turkey
young
Twizzlers because they can't
people
afford anything
who
else.
like they are just like at their computer for like most of the day, and they can take a step away from it. Like, they can do other things.
Yeah. I guess it's for these people also, like, money is really no object. So it's like you're willing... I mean, there's all these services now. There's services that will come, like, pick up your shirts and do your laundry and stuff and, like, bring it back to you. It's just like, we're willing to take any, like, aspect of your day that's non-productive and just do that for you, And it's all done through an app and all that. So it's like, I think it's more just like, if I can pay a little bit and just have to, like, have that shit removed from me, why not?
It's all about like making your life easier, right?
Yeah, and I think part of the society's problem as well is just people don't get educated about how to plan and make meals. Like, so many people going into university were just completely daunted by any task that would, require cooking or preparing food. They're just not accustomed to it. So if you have option that you can just take that just completely eliminates the need of a kitchen, then people are going to take it.
Yeah.
And especially who
And
they
they've been,
market
like-
to. Like as I said,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the Twitch viewers, the people like just in university or just coming out of school, they're all the ones that would really cling on to this and do
Yeah.
within the
Yeah,
community.
I would say also,
It's very similar to like. Oh,
Go-
sorry,
go ahead,
Kate,
David.
but like it's very similar to the idea of like the fucking like the pot noodle or the microwavable dinner, isn't it? It's just like this is convenient for you. Like there is no. It's like you say, George. Like looking at the deeper aspect behind someone not actually being able to cook. It's just like here, throw a pizza in the oven, like chuck this in the microwave, put some boiling water in this, and people do it because it's easy and they don't know what else to do.
Yeah, and also there are something that we kind of glossed over a bit as well is that there are. I'd say that there are about two different sort of communities when talking about food for fuel. One is what we've been talking about mainly, which is like the meal replacement thing, and then there's also this whole idea of people who would eat regular like solid foods, but would not care about what it is, what it tastes like. Just as David said, I think one of the ones we saw was a boiled egg in cornflakes. And these, a lot of these people would boast, talk about how it's impressive that they're doing this, that, they're proud that they will wolf down this like disgusting meal because they don't care about how food tastes. They're not weak that they need the food to be nice. It's pure fuel for their engine, which is their body.
Yeah, I mean, even like it's very common amongst like fitness bro type people to eat brown rice and chicken breast for every meal.
Yeah, broccoli as well. And
yeah,
oats.
it's like miserable. And I
Like overcooked boiled chicken.
and I will say that like part of this is I think this big feeling of being lost that a lot of people I feel like out from our generation have and looking for some kind of meaning, and that's usually like you'll get taken to some ideology through self-improvement. So like you'll be like, okay, the issue is I'm not like masculine and strong enough, that's why I'm not happy, so I'm gonna start weightlifting and that'll be the thing. And you'll find this community of online people
100%.
just like telling you that this is how you transcend happiness, is
Oh my
getting
God,
jacked.
It's like the negative reinforcement. Or not even like necessarily negative, but yeah, that reinforcement of like a flawed
Yeah.
idea is so prevalent now. And especially when something has like some sort of pseudoscience behind it. And I don't mean like, I mean, we talked about it off just before recording, but like Dr. Gillian McKeith, who's not actually a doctor, like if they say something, you can't help but believe it if it's like sounds true with some scientific terms. And especially when it's stuff like nutrition, when it can't be like really argued against in a scientific way, right? It's like your body needs X and Y to function correctly. It's really
Okay.
strange. Like the idea that like if something's not good for you, it's therefore bad for you, rather than being not quite as good for you as another alternative.
Trying to optimize your whole diet. And I think like self-improvement is a concept would be worth talking about in the future. But I will just say that these things where it's just like, here's how you buy your way to self-improvement, and it's like, here's how you buy a subscription to this, and it's like that'll be a
Fucking aspirational living,
it's like
man.
a big step to you
Kill it
going to like
dead.
a better life kind of thing. When really there's probably something much more fundamental missing for you than like, and people want to reinvent themselves every year or whatever, and like, you know what I mean? It's just
the 80s all over again,
it's just-
Kalen. But instead of the fucking like stock market and cocaine, it's
yeah.
fuel.
It's pretty miserable, and I think like I've heard of people like sort of near to me. You get someone like Jordan Peterson or whatever, like he's going to tell you like, here's how I can be a man or whatever, and it's just, and before you know it, you're eating nothing but
eat some
chicken
fucking
breast.
raw meat
yeah.
and salt.
So yeah, self-improvement is I think a big market here. You want to be like that slick dude looking good in your suit, going to work, and fucking shoot me, like literally shoot me.
Well, with the internet, it's like that's the scary thing, is that it is so doable now. It is really doable to just work super hard and get something started online and just have your own business. It's easier now than it was like for a long time. I mean, just from like my experience, like seeing everything, and there's so many different people who would like say that that's what they did, like that's how they made it, is they just put their nose to the grinder and drunk nothing but Huel and spent 17 hours a day on the computer just like working, getting their drop shipping site like done or something. So
that app together.
There's a thing where it's like, I mean, Huel, I'm sure, obviously, just like almost any diet, has like a heck of a lot of like success stories of people who, drink nothing but Huel and they lose all the weight that they wanted to and things like that. And like, that's all cool, but like, it doesn't mean that it is like, for one, the best thing, or two, the only thing necessarily. But it seems that sometimes when people take up like these kind of, like mindsets with like food for fuel and in particularly like a full diet of food replacement stuff, it's like that is the thing to live by to them. Like that's the way to do it.
Yeah, you get kind of like
And it's just
evangelized
like,
into this one thing. It's just like, this is the road.
For sure, yeah. It's like, it's almost like if you were to face criticism about it, like you would defend it to, your last days, basically, just because, I don't know, I guess it changed
in terms
your
of
life or
food for
whatever,
fuel as well, and in relation to like capitalism and how we work and live these days, I would also say that I think stuff like Pret and the like massive amount of these like sandwich shops, especially here in London and Brighton and stuff, like on every fucking street corner, and in Norwich as well, you can just get like you can just get like a sandwich anywhere, and
get that meal deal.
It's just about like this really efficient, you can't pay lunch, so you just go and buy a meal deal, or you go and buy a Pret sandwich. And Pret sandwich is like extortionate.
Walk and eat, man.
Yeah, it was more like be at your desk and eat. Like having a desk lunch is such a common thing now. So it's like you skip your lunch break and just work over it. And like in my last job, everyone would do that. Like, and I'd be like, nah, mate, I'm going for fucking 1 hour lunch.
What do you mean? They'll carry on working and just like eat their fucking sandwich.
You go to like an office, and that's what everyone does these days. Like, oh, I'm way too busy to take lunch. Or they'll be like, people will make these like wellness pledges. Like, I pledge to take lunch at least once a week and stuff like that. And like, it's just like, fuck me, you're paid.
You saint.
You're paid less than you're working. Like, you are a bootlicker. Like.
Oh, God.
Like, seriously, don't you think so though? It's just like, you're not like a humanitarian.
It's the mentality that they work really hard and that they'll impress their boss and then get promoted. It's not, at the end of the day, it isn't as simple as they're spending that extra hour doing absolutely nothing because they're not getting paid extra for
but
it.
Like, why the fuck not?
But I know, but it's the whole mindset that you want to improve yourself. You want to do the best thing that you can. You want to, impress your boss and get a promotion and then, be a millionaire and, then you win at life. And that's part of it.
Miserable.
So I'm interested in this actually. What would it take for you guys to start just replacing all your meals with a food supplement?
Well, if you wanted to throw a sponsorship,
Yeah, but Huel, I know-
like thoroughly
a couple of
shat
I
all
know he
over
says some
it.
shit about Huel,
I would
but
definitely
we'd
try
still
it.
do it.
I don't think I would. Like, I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, no, I don't think I would. Do you mean just like in terms of like having like a Huel or a Soylent instead of eating actual food?
Yeah.
Say
fuck no.
if
Like,
tomorrow there was a pill that came out and they were like, in this pill you can get all of your daily just by having it in the morning, would you want to do it or not?
No.
I think I would.
No.
I think I would take it.
You love food,
Why?
George.
No, yeah, I don't believe that for a second. You're cooking lobster biscuits
No
on
way.
a
Yeah,
daily.
you cook more
You
than
cook
all of
the
us.
most out
Yeah.
of all of us.
Yeah, and I think I would do this.
Why?
Like, if it is if it is a magic pill that would be like the perfect nutrients and you're the most healthy that you could possibly be, like from eating, then I would take it. Like,
Okay,
But you can't eat. That's the thing on the other side is you can't eat on top of that.
if
No,
I'm
like, no
if I'm
popcorn,
if I'm completely satiated and never hungry after taking this pill, I think I would take it. And I love cooking. I really enjoy it. But
no Bricky P, George. No Bricky P with the boys after a Monday night.
But I mean, there is these social aspects of eating that isn't lost. Like, yeah, it might be a bit depressing if your mate comes along to the Pizza Hut with his bottle of Huel. But
I think if you were sitting there not eating with a group of people who were eating, it would be like weird. You'd feel like the odd one out. You would be the odd one out. It would be like, no way.
Yeah.
Like, I love I'm not the most healthy eater, but I don't eat badly. But like, I love having like a bar of chocolate every so
like
often.
4 cheese and onion
more often than I
pasties
probably should.
at once.
Well, now, David, you're a piece of shit, mate. I'm sorry. Like, how dare you? You need to get off that
Yeah.
before it's too late.
Chocolate. Yeah. It's just too bad for me. They're like.
But the thing is, like, one of the
Even exist.
reasons that I do cook like pretty much every meal, definitely over 95% of every meal I cook, is because it's the best thing to do. It's the cheapest, like, most nutritious, easiest thing to like get your nutrients and get your sustenance. If there was a pill that was even easier, even cheaper, even more accessible, then 100% I'd take it. Like,
Okay, but
Do you not
surely,
take supplements as well? You can take supplements as well as having the food, right?
yeah, you can have
They
like one
exist.
Huel in the morning, and then you can eat your normal meals, for example.
or do you mean, David, that you can take like supplement pills for vitamins and stuff while you?
Yeah. If you have you have them for like vegans and stuff, where it's like if you have a meal and then you have the little pill with it that sort of tops you up with the things that you don't get. Like,
Yeah.
there is basically the big flaw in all of this is like it's really, really hard to get every single thing you need from like any food like that's like naturally like available. Every food has to be like processed or having things like added or removed in some way. Like, it's not.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
I might be mistaken. I'm pretty sure that's what astronauts do. They have vitamin supplements that they take along with their food, and yeah, like if it was a kind of more permissible thing to do, then I probably would do something similar as well. But that sort of stuff is like way too expensive and like too prohibitable to actually do it. Whereas I could just go to the store, buy all my food for the week, cook it,
Yeah.
And on top of that, I
We'll have
mean,
a little supplement.
they're in a pretty specialist kind of example, aren't they? Because they're astronauts.
They're in
You're just
space.
like hanging at the computer. Like, I don't think you need the same kind of thing going on.
Well, still gravity's applying
Yeah,
to
it's
him,
true.
Don.
Yeah.
Well, true.
Actually,
Okay.
it's harder for me because I do have
Yeah.
gravity applying
Yeah,
to me. And the
exactly.
astronauts don't. They just
They're
float
just floating
around.
around,
yeah.
man.
Well, yeah, okay.
I think like I don't know, like it's so weird to say that, like, because a lot of this stuff does exist, right? If you idea of like a vitamin supplement that gives you all of the vitamins you need in the day, like you just need like a balanced diet is proven to be like the healthiest thing,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to give every single thing you need
There are,
in order to be fine.
like
It
things
just-
like fiber
I
and
dunno.
stuff. Eating it through solids is a more effective way of ingesting. But yeah, to be honest though, I do think I am like one of the most marketable people for this sort of thing.
Dude,
Like,
if
I'm the
anyone would
perfect
buy it,
age
it's
group.
you.
My job is like exactly what we've been talking about and stuff. So yeah, like
Yeah.
but Don, would you just never
No.
take it? Or...
Well, it's more like I think as more time goes by in my life, I realize that I just like to like indulge in things a bit more. So like I kind of enjoy cooking and things like that, and I don't want to get caught up in streamlining everything. And I feel if I was to just like remove all aspects of enjoying taste or like having like a snack and things like that, enjoying cooking dinner, just so I can like save all my time on that by eating a pill, at 8 a.m. when I go up for work. Like, I think that will remove a lot more in my life than, the time that I would have put into cooking.
Yeah, I guess it depends because I think in my vision, I would still like get the enjoyment from tasting if, because I would like have a snack or something just for the enjoyment of the taste of it.
No, you can't. You're too full.
No food, man. No food.
The
I'd probably
pills
still do
filled
it.
you up.
But that's the
Well,
thing, like,
No,
at the
that's
end
the
of the day,
hypothetical rule is you can't.
at the end of the day, it's still a bodily function that needs doing, and there are other bodily functions that we have that we don't put so much.
Speak for
You know.
yourself, mate. I languish in every bodily function I have. I won't go into detail.
Is it like a very cultural thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of sanctity
You don't
to
have
it, like
the
food.
candlelit shits every night, or the I don't know.
But that's what I'm talking about. To a lot of people, that's what food is. Food is a necessity, like annoyance. It just takes up time.
You say a
that
lot
you
of
have
people,
to do.
but I think it's like Westerners in like who work in a fucking office. I don't think it's like anyone else.
Hmm.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, that's who they're marketing to. You're never going to get like a fucking Pakistani grandmother to get on Huel because like food is more than
So true.
than
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's just what the fuck.
No, yeah. It's like
you're right.
yeah. It's like fuck all the interesting restaurants and stuff that you'd never experience otherwise. Just like have it all in a in a drink or two.
Like it's okay. I get that some people see it as like fucking taking a shit, but like you just like blocking off the whole experience of food and like the joys that it can bring. Like the idea of like one of your fucking five senses just gone.
Yeah.
Like what's
What's the point
having
of
fucking
life
taste
if it's just
if you
about
can't,
getting
like,
muscular and doing good at your job?
Yeah.
Like,
But that's not like a correct comparison, because there are things that you could do just to indulge yourself and just to have fun and be happy and not just have it not be related to food. Like, I'd argue that the Italian grandmother is really into cooking and eating and loves it so much just because that's what culturally is like a part of their interests. Like, it is a big thing that they would enjoy. But if that person
It's
was
because
a
the family are
17-year-old Swedish kid, I'm sure he would love playing games or hanging with his friends online, and that would still be.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is like the enjoyment of like spending the time of having a dinner together, right?
that's
like,
Uber, dude.
it brings people together.
There's
like,
not
I
a
think.
single person on this
But
planet now who can have dinner without watching Netflix at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
TV fucking dinners, man. Yeah.
And it's not unique to food. There are loads of different things that you can do where you can hang out with friends and have a really fun time.
But you can't taste delicious
I think
pizza.
because food and like taste
Brings people together. It's the reason why people like can like meet together.
But football brings people together because it's fun to kick
Yeah,
the
man.
ball around.
Well, you could be like,
So-
yeah, I would also say like, cultural events like sports is something that is really important for humans as well. And, I feel like there's this thing right now, just like removing all the fun bits of your life as if they're like not important and just leaving like health and productivity and making money and doing good at your work and blah, blah, blah. And that's just like, that's the fucking end.
Yeah, it makes it sound like everything else is not worthwhile.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'm definitely talking about a minority here, which is just still having all of the fun, like socializing aspects and stuff, while just having to remove this one part of your life.
That could be a
like
thing.
imagine like because it's like the sort of thing where if like imagine you were like, okay, let's meet up and go for a meal, or let's meet up and like go to the pub or whatever. Just like losing one of those things means you would lose friends and like social contacts that you wouldn't necessarily have otherwise. I think, well, you wouldn't be as close to your family or like distant relatives because you lose this like huge thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, in our culture, especially as you said, it really isn't like we don't like. I don't when I visit family, it's not for like a meal. Like we will have meals there,
It's
but
not the focus.
a lot of the time it'll just be kind of
Yeah.
just hanging out and not really paying much attention to it. We don't put on a big do, or we don't like spend lots of time. We'll probably have the TV on,
Yeah. It's
I think that's what it is over here. It's like, with the exception of like Sunday lunch with like, traditional British families, like the only instance in which you would have like a family meal, like a get together based around food is like, I don't know, some fucking shit where like it's Saturday night and X Factor's on and you order Domino's or something.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
it extends outside of that.
You know how you
anymore.
always see in movies,
Just-
like the grandma being like, "No, eat some more, have some more," like, and trying to feed you so much. Like, that's not a fucking thing here. Like,
That won't
No,
happen
but like
in the future.
no. But it's not doesn't mean homemade food, right? Like takeaways. Think of the times that we've like hung out and ordered a takeaway while playing like
Yeah,
video
yeah,
games or
it's
watching
true.
like a film or like UFC
Yeah,
or
yeah.
some shit. It's like
I guess that's the thing,
that
though.
would be gone,
But the takeaway itself, the act of eating the food itself, I would argue isn't the memorable, fun experience.
it's part of it.
Hang out
No,
with
but
friends and socialize.
no way, man.
Do you remember
it
that
like
pizza
helps
we
it.
had?
It's like the delicious fucking like salt and pepper on the meal. It's another pleasant thing that adds a part
it is
to the
definitely
bigger
part of
thing.
it.
And if the thing is less if you remove
Yeah.
one of those parts.
It's
for
the
sure.
icing
If
on the
you-
cake.
It's one of those times where you're like, you're all being kind of gross,
bit of
you're
spice
just
in
having
life.
some beers or, whatever, and you're just like hanging out, having some unhealthy food and just playing video games and kind of being like, that's just like the vibe of what you're doing. Or another day
Yeah,
you
yeah.
could, or say you're watching a movie and you buy some like chocolates or sweets or something or popcorn. Or there's just like,
Well, maybe
food is
you
important
bust
still.
out the special Huel. They do like
Flavor
limited
packets.
edition
Mint chocolate
runs.
Soylent.
Yeah. They do
Yeah,
like
you could-
birthday cake flavor and stuff that you could
Yeah,
whip
on
out.
Huel.
and-
I wonder why they flavor it though, George. Like, why would you flavor the fuel
Yeah.
if
People are
like,
weak.
taste wasn't
Okay, they're
important?
weak and they need to satiate
Yeah.
a taste bud.
Yeah.
Do they
Isn't
have
real.
They need to. Yeah. So the idea of like a just a tablet then wouldn't loses all purpose.
I mean,
you have
if
to
the
have a
tablet
taste of
was
something.
teriyaki barbecue flavored, I might consider.
Yeah, you can buy a flavor boost from Huel website for $5 to add
What does it do?
flavor to the
To
thing.
add flavor.
It's a loot crate where you could get one of 5
So yeah,
like
you get,
special
you can
flavors.
get like apple,
You get a
cinnamon,
random one.
banana flavor, banana, berry, chocolate, mint, etc.
Huel crate.
Pumpkin.
Oh, I got paprika.
Yeah. Paprika.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Mixed spice again.
Yeah. Well, so we'll wrap up now. Does anyone have any final thoughts on the old Hooligans?
Yeah, man. Fuck you. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck all this
Sorry,
shit, to
but
be
this is
honest.
I was annoyed last time, and I was a salty boy, and I'm a salty boy again.
Yeah.
But there is something that like I'm sure the community like side of it is I think like from the Huel side, it's kind of like don't be that productive with your life. Like that's not the most important thing. Like just sit down and enjoy like
Yeah.
the taste of something. And for the gym bros, it's like cool. Like you just keep doing your thing. No big deal there. But have the protein shake and think about why it tastes of chocolate. Like just have some fucking
Yeah,
chocolate.
true.
Or maybe if you regulated your sodium levels by intaking Huel only, then you wouldn't be so salty.
True. True.
I think it's there is more that goes into it, and I do see a little bit to why people get so wrapped up in it. But yeah, I think it was a good discussion.
I think on a personal level, I guess kind of elaborating a bit more on what I said earlier about why I wouldn't take the teriyaki barbecue flavored pill every day. It's because I think it's just another part of life which is basically boiled down to an overly simple process that's just like optimizing something which doesn't seemingly have to be optimized. And it's just perfectly fine to like, I don't know, not limit like what I intake every day or whatever, or it doesn't have to be this specific thing. Like it's fine to just eat whatever.
But you don't have to do the washing up.
Yeah.
It's great.
You have to
but
wash up
like,
your little fucking
takeaway
shaver
thing.
anyway. All right, so
Yeah.
Don, do you want to hit us with the social media?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, follow us at Heatlamp Podcast on Twitter, and then hit our email up at heatlamppodcast@gmail.com.
Yep, no new emails,
And
I'm
then-
guessing.
No.
Can you
No.
fucking email us? If you're listening, just fucking email us. God's sake.
The only one
Hashtag
we've got so
fuel.
far is someone who knows Kayla.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
They're
not good enough.
They're a
They're a fan.
fan.
They've actually, I think,
because they
I
like
think,
the content.
yeah.
Have they kept listening?
Go ahead. If you're still
wasn't built in a
listening,
day.
send us another email. All right. Also, I will just finish by reading a forum post off the Huel thing. Just the title of it: bloated feeling and excessive stool experiences. I think that says
Oh
it
man,
all.
I've got another one. I saw one called it's just Huel Guffs.
Yeah, farting is apparently a big issue with this. I've been reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, surprise, fucking
Exactly.
surprise.
If you were to take a pill which would stop you shitting every day, would you do it?
Of course.
Yeah, because
Of course.
Where does
Well, yeah,
it go?
is it going
Are you
somewhere,
like 100% efficient with
The
all
pill
your
the
food?
pill dissolves it.
Then yeah,
you're
fuck
100%
yeah, then.
efficient.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
down.
would you not,
Fuck
Don?
it.
Do you
Sweat it out.
Do you love shitting that much?
I would definitely take that.
Mate, I'd be
pill,
fucking downing
100%.
that shit. All right, so that's all for us this week. See you next week, etc.
Join us next week for episode 10.
Yeah, episode 10 is the big one. It's the 10 weeks we've been doing this. Then isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously, we might start promoting it a bit more after next week as well. So you should be hearing about us, from the kids.
You should be hearing
From
us.
the kids at
See us in the
school.
newspaper.
People be talking about us
Yeah.
everywhere. Like, people aren't going to be talking about TikTok anymore. They're going to talk about this podcast. So get ready for that. See you next week, homies. Bye bye.
Farewell.
Bye.
Bye.